What's up, fanatics? So with the way the US stock market's been trading the last 3 years, it's really no surprise that everybody and their mother wants to get into stock trading. This can be dangerous, actually. Um, but there are three things that you should definitely make sure that you do before you enter the world of individual stock trading. If you could do me a huge favor and like this video and subscribe to our channel, that would be hugely helpful in making sure that we reach more people. Okay, so the first thing that you definitely want to get squared away before you start trading is taking care of your consumer debt. Things like credit cards, store cards, really eat up your income and are something that you very much want to get away from as you start to build long-term wealth. Um, Things like student loans are a little bit of a toss-up. If the interest rate is sub 3%, um, it's kind of up in the air. I recommend getting rid of your student loan as quickly as possible. But if you've got a super low interest rate on it, it may not hurt to start dabbling into investing while you're making plans to prioritize paying it off. The next piece is just making sure that you've got a proper cushion in your savings account. So, I recommend having no less than $5,000 saved to handle life's little emergencies. There's really nothing worse than making a winning trade and having to cash it out early because you need the money to pay for a living expense. And lastly, but most critically, make sure that you're maxing out your retirement vehicles first and foremost. I say this because so many people open up Robinhood accounts, open up external brokerage accounts, not realizing the tax implications. I actually had to write a very sizable check to the IRS this year because unfortunately I was less disciplined than I should have been. I made some really good trades, a lot around Tesla in 2020. But I made some really strong trades in my brokerage account. But given the nature of swing trading, they happen to be short-term capital gains. So I got really whacked with taxes this year. So what I can't recommend enough is that you maximize your Roth options. So what I mean by that is either your 401k through an employer plan or a Roth IRA that you create yourself through any sort of brokerage, Fidelity, any of the major banks have them. It's the absolute best option for trading stocks. And the reason is because the money that goes into it goes in post-tax. So it's money that comes out of your check and goes in. So, and let's say we put $100,000 in it over 5 years, right? So that $100,000 compounds and compounds, with typical market yields over time. And let's say, fast forward to 30 years down the road, that $100,000 is now worth $3 million. You want to access it for living expenses, or you want to, gift it to your children. You owe exactly $0 on that money. The reason is because you paid taxes up front and it grows inside of the account tax-free. Roth is my favorite word in the English language because it is hands down the best option for investing. Some caveats, of course, are, you can't access the money without a 10% penalty before age 59 and a half. Believe it or not, that's actually a good thing. It reduces temptation. And frankly, if you're making 30, 40, 50% returns in it and, God forbid you need the money in an emergency situation, paying 10% is not the end of the world. Fortunately, I haven't had to do it, but, again, it wouldn't necessarily be the end of the world. What's most important is that for the long term, you're not paying taxes on any of the growth of the account. Another caveat is there are income limitations. So in 2020, a single filer making $140,000 up to $140,000 is eligible. Over 140, you would not be. The same goes for married, filing jointly. That income limit is 208. So over 208K, you'd have to figure out something else. However, a great way to get around that is an employee-sponsored plan or an employer-sponsored plan, traditional 401k. So my company offers a 401k with a Roth option, and I try to max that thing out as much as humanly possible. In 2020, the IRS contribution cap is $19,500. I recommend that you put as much of that $19,500 into it as you can, while still affording to meet your basic expenses and still have your enough income to run your budget and your household. Any extra money should absolutely go into that, because there's no better way from a tax treatment perspective to invest in the market. And that's really what I have moved to for my trading personally. I trade the Teslas of the world, the high flying growth stocks. I always will trade in my Roth 401k, because you don't pay taxes on those massive home runs. And in my brokerage account, I will trade, not necessarily trade, it's more of a buy and hold situation. So I buy and hold things like, Altria, or things like, some of the more Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, stocks that aren't going anywhere. They pay a healthy dividend, and I can hold for over a year, so that when I do go to sell, I can recognize long-term capital gains, which is a better tax treatment. It's a lesser rate when you go to sell that asset. So with that in mind, it's important to remember that this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is actually for entertainment purposes only, to get you guys thinking. And I definitely recommend, doing your own due diligence and speaking to a financial advisor if appropriate, before making moves. But yeah, hope this was helpful. I wish that I had this video when I got started trading stocks. It would have saved me probably tens of thousands, but you live and learn. So hope this was helpful. Again, if you could like this video, subscribe to our channel, it would help us tremendously achieve our mission, which is to help ordinary people become independently wealthy over time. Thank you guys so much, and we'll talk to you soon.